2-division world champion, great win against a very, very good, tough world champion. The journey continues, the history continues. Over to you guys for questions.
First of all, Katie, what was your performance tonight?
I probably have to go back and watch it really, but I'm very happy with the performance tonight. It was a very, very smart performance, a very clever boxing exhibition tonight, so I made the fight as easy as possible for myself.
Listen to Ross a bit more than normal.
Exactly, I didn't get dragged to the fight for change.
What was the plan to make you chase around the ring and then just jab it and then get combinations off it?
Yeah, there's no point in staying there trading shots with her. That's her strength, so the plan was always to box on the outside, and I think I stayed this one for the whole fight.
I'm just going to ask you, what's it feel like being a 2-division champion?
This is incredible. Two-way, I was getting very emotional during because that's how much it meant to me, and I was overwhelmed by the support there tonight. And to be a two-way world champion as well, to be a multi-way world champion as well, every fighter dreams all the time. I became undisputed champion a few months ago, and now here I am as a two-way world champion, and it just keeps getting better and better.
I think Eddie you were even choking. It was the first time you couldn't. The first time you couldn't speak.
I said to Katie, I said to Katie after, I went, great bit of acting in the interview. Apparently it was genuine. It was amazing.
I'm not that good of an actress.
First time you were stuck for words.
Eddie, talk about that crowd when Katie won. I mean, the atmosphere.
Amazing. Yeah, we've been building to this for a long time. I mean, I remember when she had her debut at Wembley, we had a couple of hundred Irish up there, and tonight, I know Crowder sold a lot of tickets, and it was, he's in his hometown, but there was a lot of Irish in there tonight, a lot of Irish. And the great thing about the support now for Katie is we know that in Ireland she'll always be a legend and they'll always back her, but everybody else is now. It doesn't matter if it's in Manchester or London or New York, or Boston or Philadelphia, all these places. Like when you look back at what she's achieved in such a short place of time, not just the undisputed lightweight world championship, not just the WBO lightweight world champion, like welterweight world championship, but everywhere that she's been, everywhere that she's boxed, all the ground that she's broken, and it's like it's been constant. So it's like, right, win the world title at Millennium Stadium, boxing at Wembley Stadium, then go and unify it again, undisputed at Madison Square Garden, then come back, headline in Manchester Arena, and there's so much more to do. The tough thing is, what do you do next? Because she's got about 8 different options, and it's just choosing the right route. And there's so many opportunities to keep creating history. Some of the things to tick off on the box is unifying at 140, being undisputed at 140. The first ever 2 undisputed world champions fighting each other in Brackhouse against Taylor, headlining her own card at Madison Square Garden against Amanda Serrano, the rematch with Delphine Persoon. There's so many different options, and it's going to be really interesting to sit down and say, which one do you go for? For me, I would love to see her become a 2-weight undisputed world champion.
Breakouts then, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about undisputed at 140, but again, everybody wants a Serrano fight, everybody wants the Persoon fight, everybody wants the Brackhouse fight. So it's such a great position to be in. It's just about plotting now and strategy and getting it right, and ultimately that's down to Katie and Ross and Brian. We just come in and say, this is all the opportunities, but literally the opportunities are this long. So it's a fascinating
Tell them
time.
all, we'll get to them all.
Yeah, we'll get them. Yeah. Bet your life she'll get
Prioritise.
Do you think that was your smartest professional man so far? You stayed well out of trouble towards the end.
I think so. I definitely knew that I had to say this with her the whole fight tonight. That's why Ross was brilliant in the interview for the last few months, and yeah, that's exactly what I did. I said yes, I moved very well, I was hooking off her very well, and my jab was very good tonight as well, so I was very...
toe once.
Yeah, for a change.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Did it require much?
Still came out with a big eye.
Instruction had to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. She was a big puncher, so we knew not to mix with her. Yeah.
Got to give her credit too. Hell of a
She was
fighter.
great. I tell you, there's not many that would beat her.
No.
I mean, like that's now all these fighters that Katie's beating. Persoon, great fighter. Linardatou, great fighter. McCaskill, now you're seeing, is now unified at 140. Bustos come back and won a world championship at 140. She's fighting Brackhouse on our Monaco show coming up. Farias is a really, really good fighter.
I think that was the 8th past former or future world champ tonight?
Especially Robin Forrest. But I mean, you know, they're all top fighters. Rose Volante, very, very good fighter as well. Like they're
undefeated.
Yeah.
Sorry, Katie, how did you find the step up in weight yourself? Training that in ring?
I felt great all camp. Really, this is probably the best I felt in camp going into this fight. I had a longer camp this time as well for this fight. I was able to build up the strength. It was great being able to eat a small bit more during 5 weeks. And I walk around maybe 140, so I just had to literally just set the scales. So I didn't have to cut any weight for this fight. I felt strong, but I would feel just as strong at 135 as well. So.
And her power, how did you feel?
She definitely had a very strong punch, and we knew that coming into this fight as well. She had a big right hand.
You absorbed it on instinct.
Yeah, I didn't get hurt during the fight.
She was a big 140, strong. Massive. It's one thing, you know, McCaskill's coming up from 35, you know, Bustos is coming up from 35, but she's a huge 140.
Katie, how do you feel when Eddie lists all the possibilities of future opponents for yourself? Does it feel good to have such a big target on your back?
It's great actually. There's no shortage of huge fights out there for me. And so when I first sat down at HEARN 3 years ago, we didn't really know what way this journey was going to go. But to see now so many options, so many big fights out there, big headline fights as well, history-making fights, it's very, very exciting.
What's your preference? Because you're the boss, obviously.
Am I?
That's for sure. Trust me, you're the boss. I'm petrified. Yes.
I don't know. What do you say?
Just got out of this one. You're not going to sit down and think.
Katie, there's a lot of what we've seen in the crowd today. There's a lot of young girls shouting and cheering you on. You're inspiring a lot of young women to go into the sport. What would you say to all them girls and women?
It's incredible to see so many young girls boxing now, but just give it everything you have, just train as hard as you can, make sure you do more than your opponents, don't cut any corners, and nothing's impossible when you're willing to work hard for.
Eddie, in comparison to all the big superstars that you've promoted over the course of your career, when it's all said and done, how do you think Katie will compare?
Right at the top, because she's groundbreaking. You know, what we're seeing with other male superstars is just another superstar. So there's never been a female superstar in boxing, in my opinion. Not someone that's filling arenas, not someone that the broadcasters are actually saying, let's headline with Katie Taylor, let's look at a pay-per-view fight with Katie Taylor in 2020. Like, that's never been done before. So she's a trailblazer in that respect. But honestly, like I was talking the other day, when you look at the superstars of the sport, Katie Taylor is right up there, like on one hand, with all of the top. I'm talking about AJ, Canelo, you know, Mayweather's gone, but like, that's the level that I'm talking about, because she's that skilled, she's broke that much ground, and we're really only getting started. You know, I mean, that's the exciting thing. I feel like there's so much more to do. And I said, you know, remember when we had that meeting in Philadelphia, and I said to Katie, what do you think, you know, another 5, 6, 7 fights? And she looked at me like she wanted to kill me. You know, she was disgusted. Like, you know, and I don't know, you know, but this is what she loves to do at the moment. She's improving, she's boxing so well, and there's so many opportunities. But you know, now in her prime, this is the time to take those big fights, because that's when you got to grab them in your prime. You don't want to take them 5, 6 fights down the road when you're not as good as you were 5 fights ago. But at the same time, she's the governor of the division. She's the governor of the sport. So all these other people have got to understand that they will get their opportunities. Katie will fight all of them, but she's the boss. And all these people, Linardatou included, just made life-changing money tonight through fighting Katie Taylor, which is great, by the way. That's not a criticism. That's wonderful for the sport, and brilliant that female fighters are getting opportunities of paydays like that through Katie Taylor. But understand, they're coming through Katie Taylor to receive that. So Delphine Persoon, Serrano, and what you guys don't see behind the doors, it's all very well saying, yeah, rematch her, fight her, what? So, but when you start negotiations with these people, it's very easy for them to price themselves out in that situation. So it's not just about phone her up and she'll take the fight. It's about actually getting the deal right and understand, you know, treating people with respect, but understand they can't make this kind of money unless they fight the female boss, which is Katie Taylor. And one thing I would say is I've never seen so many young women at a boxing event. It was unbelievable walking down, I mean, like hundreds of them, you know, and they're all there to watch Katie Taylor. It's amazing, and other fighters bouncing off that. Terry Harper, brilliant performance tonight against Overnorth. You know, she's had 8 fights. She gave up boxing. She was a top young amateur, quit because there was no opportunities. Katie come through. She's like, oh, I'm going to do that now. Look at her now. She's great reception. So 400 or 500 tickets tonight. She's going to fight Wallstrom for the WBC Super Featherweight World Title. You know, she can really fight. Like, you know, it's not about. I've said it so many times. So boring. It's not about men's boxing. I mean, if you can fight and it's exciting, it doesn't matter. But the fact that Katie's doing it as a female and breaking so much ground, it doesn't matter if she's male or female. She'd be a superstar, whatever gender she was. But it's irrelevant because she's a great fighter, and you know. It's just an incredible story. It's getting bigger and bigger. Every fight's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Katie, did you know you were in a higher weight division, or
sorry?
Did you feel you were in a higher weight division, or was it similar to 5 pounds?
It's only 5 pounds, I guess, but I definitely felt her power. But I think she's unusually a strong puncher for her weight division anyway. And we knew coming into this fight, we thought she was the best 140 pounder in the division. I've said that before. And I think she'd beat all the rest of the girls in the 140 pounds. So it was definitely the hardest fight for me at my welterweight. But I felt strong in there as well. But I could definitely feel her power.
Yeah. At the end, were you consciously saying, "Oh, we'll stay out of trouble. I built up enough points to win this"? Just
exactly. It was important for me to bank the early rounds and to be smart and to say this one throughout the whole fight, really.
You find that difficult in all the cases, like giving your attention for entertainment and actually enjoying it?
It is, definitely. I have to be consciously disciplined sometimes because it's so much easier to stand there and fight sometimes rather than move your legs. For me, it is anyway. It's very, very tempting to just stand there and fight. But I knew that's the way to be her, and I knew I had to say this when I was fight. That's what we were talking about for the last few months. I had to be disciplined in there.
Do you find it almost more satisfying tonight, like the fact that you were so disciplined? I know you don't care for the criticism you received after your last one, but you probably feel as though you came out of there with the job properly done as opposed to maybe getting drawn into things you shouldn't have.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't get dragged into the fight this time. It was great. My legs felt good in there tonight. I felt strong, and I was able to move for 10 rounds, which is great as well.
Was that a clash of heads, Katie?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I didn't notice at the time. I just came back to the corner, and after the second round, actually noticed a bit swell.
Is that the same one as last time?
I don't know, actually. Yeah.
You had one in the last fight.
Yeah, it's just put my hands up.
So anybody likely, or when is the team likely to make a decision on where?
I think the next thing is when they want to fight. I mean, Katie's always been able to box basically whenever she wants. She just tells us the right date.
Do I?
Yeah. No. So Brian does. Let's be honest. It comes through you, of course, anyway. So it's the same whenever she wants. I mean, I would think now we're in November. We got, you know, we're looking at February, March. DAZN have actually said there's a International Women's Day or National Women's Day in America on March the 7th, and they'd like to run an all-female card for the first time with Katie headlining. So that would be the week before. Yes, the week before St Patrick's Day. So
Eddie's going to be the round card boy.
Yeah.
Sorana's team have been tweeted in the last few days that they're talking about boxing somebody else rather than Katie.
I'll tell you the very simple situation with Amanda Serrano. She previously signed a contract to fight Katie Taylor, which she then pretended that her promoter didn't sign. Right? So we went, whatever. So we negotiated a new deal with her and said, this time we're going to make you sign it rather than your promoter. So this time she signed it.
There's a new contract.
There's a new contract that now she's signed. So she has to fight Katie Taylor. Now she's saying, I don't want to wait till February, March. I mean, she's just boxing in September. I want to box in January. And she's going to box Milena. Yeah. So if she wants to take that fight, she's got to sign an extension to fight Katie Taylor, because we had 6 months from her fight to fight her, which is the beginning of March. So if you want to fight in January, don't pretend that we don't want to fight because you want another fight. So we don't get drawn into this stuff. But the truth is everybody wants the lottery victory to get the Katie Taylor fight. And Amanda Serrano against Katie Taylor is an absolute monster event. Katie Taylor, in my opinion, will headline a pay-per-view next year on Sky, but it won't be in America. And really, there's only 3 fights you can probably do that with, which is Serrano, Brackhouse, and Pursuit.
Well, Serrano probably needs her mouth shut.
Serrano, I would like.
She needs her mouth.
The WBA are making regular champion this month. Like there's Chantal Cameron as well. Is there a chance that the really big fights are going to that could be a bit of a spanner in the works?
Chantal Cameron's a really good young fighter. And that, no disrespect to her, because you want to give the young fighters coming through that opportunity one day. But right now, the focus is on the 3, 4, 5 fighters. I think the biggest problem that Katie will have is the mandatories and the lightweight situation. And now going into a new division where there won't be that pressure. But soon, the WBC will say, right, you've got to fight her, and the IBF will say, this is your mandatory. And eventually, like, you can't just keep holding on to the undisputed title whilst you're fighting these mandatories that might not be that important to you. And although she won't want to give up any belts, at some point it's hard not to, unless you want to take fights that actually aren't the right fights, if that makes sense. So that's why moving to 140 sometimes will take that stress away, because she won't have 2 or 3 mandatories that she's got to face, and you know. But again,
so we won't see the picture of Katie with 15 belts.
She's already had that
picture. In front of Katie with the 130, 140.
Is like the Serrano and Brazil fights, is there a chance that they could be made up 140 as well?
No, I mean, again, that's up to the team. For me, those fights should be making 35. Serrano's made it clear she wants that fight at 35. Kassoon's at 35. Katie makes 35 comfortably. So really, the only reason she's going to 140 is to make more history. She doesn't need to do that, but it's just another challenge. And the challenge is fighting bigger girls, you know, like you saw tonight, maybe a little bit stronger. But that's the challenge of moving up. It's like Kovalev's doing the same in a couple of hours. He shouldn't be moving to 175, but he's doing it to try and, you know, win another division world title. And the Brackhouse thing will be interesting. She's 147. Now, I wouldn't like to see Katie go much over 140, like what, 140 and a half, 141.
Once it brings the
but can Brackhouse get down to 41 or 40, or, you know?
Has she made that clear?
Not yet. She's fighting on their Monaco card. Like, it's come to that, actually.
Yeah.
Monaco, right up your street, yeah.
You get the private jet to Bray,
And you know, she's another groundbreaker of the sport. I mean, she was doing this. It's very hard for me to say Katie's, you know, the trailblazer, the groundbreaker. Let's be right. You know, Brackhouse, you know, was doing it. She's the first lady, as she said. You know, she was doing this before, you know, probably Katie won a gold medal in London. So she's, you know, she's a great ambassador for the sport as well, and a great fighter. So 2 undisputed fighters fighting each other would be another massive event.
When all of this talk is going on between, like, Serrano doing a video with Matthew and saying you're running away from her, things like that, and obviously there's been talking about this since June as well. How aware are you of any of that? And, like, is there part of you that at a certain point just wants to essentially shut them up as far as
I think the fights are going to happen better, so eventually I am going to shut them up. I'm going to have a chance to shut them all up, but I'm never really respond to anything like that. I'm always very quiet on social media, and once I get them in the ring, that's when I can shut them up. But I always say that my strength is my quiet confidence, and I don't need to talk back, I don't need to retaliate or respond to anything. I just keep quiet and do the talking in the ring, and that's the way I've always been. But those fights are going to happen eventually, and they are history-making fights, and I can't wait for those fights, because I was born for those big fights.
Eddie, Katie has a really unique ability to switch from a totally relaxed state outside of her in-ring experience to ultra aggressive and completely different. How surprised are you with each event? Does it still kind of spellbound you?
Tonight, it's shocked. Tonight it shocked, but you know, it really was an amazing atmosphere. You know, and I expected a great atmosphere, but I didn't probably expect as many Irish in there as they were in there, because you know, it's a long way to travel. When they were there, they were out in numbers, they were singing, and it was a nice blend tonight of sort of Crawler fans got involved. You know, the Irish were there, and then even after, you know, the Irish stayed for the Crawler fight, and it was nice. It was a really nice event tonight. Felt big for boxing, you know, and yeah. Christina, you want to come and sit up there? We're going to, we're all done. Casey, you want to stay and watch it, or you?
I don't. Whatever you want me to.
Christina, take a seat. We'll do a couple of questions with Christina. She can take over, and then we get Katie back. Guys, any questions?
Christina, You seemed a little bit disappointed